Today's special guest is David Demars' biological mother, Sean Whitman. Sean is here to share some shocking evidence about David Demars' infatuation and obsession with incest. So, welcome, Sean.
Thank you very much.
All right, so Sean, let's just jump straight into this. What the hell are we looking at? What is this text? Can you explain the text and the circumstances surrounding it?
One night after when David Demars was living with me, we were in the kitchen and then all of a sudden he disappeared and I just thought he went to bed or whatever. So I went in my bedroom after I finished in the kitchen and all of a sudden I get this text from David and he says to me, "Are you still awake?" And I said, "I just saw this. Where are you?" And he goes on to say, "Here, you sexy motherfucker. I'm always here." And I was like, totally shocked, totally shocked. I was like, "What?" And I said, "Am I missing something?" And then he says to me, "I want my mom. I want my mother." No, not at all. You're only missing something you want. Well, needless to say, I didn't respond to that. And it freaked me totally out that he
I would
did
be
that.
freaked out by that too. That's just horrifically
Oh,
bizarre.
it is. It's, because I was really freaked out. I locked my bedroom door. I didn't answer, and I just was trying to think all night how I was going to deal with it. Yeah, pretty shocking.
To catch everyone up to speed, because some people watching may not actually know who David is, so I'll just do a quick kind of, catching people up to speed. So David Mars has a YouTube channel. It was formerly called it was formerly called Crazy Narcissistic Ex-Girlfriend. He's now rebranded himself to Demars Coaching. He's done like a 2-day online course and is working now as a narcissistic abuse life coach. David Demars has multiple allegations being made against him from women, including his former girlfriends, his friends, clients, viewers of the channel, and his own biological family. Has a pattern of sourcing new supply or girlfriends from his channel and coaching clients, which is obviously highly unethical, immoral, a huge breach of any professional standards. So the allegations that have been made against David Demars over the years include serious allegations, mind you, sexual assault and battery, kidnapping, misconduct, theft, fraud, and a whole range of inappropriate behaviours, including stalking, online harassment, bullying, ghosting clients, refusing to refund their money, and more. So, and now this. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, this is
yeah,
huge.
it's shocking. I mean, I know of 4 women that he got that were his clients and became his girlfriend. 2 I did speak with. And he would, it was sad because that was the reason I decided to do the video, was because I was, I saw this video of this woman and she was totally distraught, almost in tears. And I felt so bad. She was a victim of him. And so I just, decided that I would reach out because I didn't want anybody else to have to go through any of this with him. And he
Yeah.
manipulates them. It's their most vulnerable time. They're coming to him for coaching because they have emotional issues, and he takes advantage of them, manipulates them, wants them to be his girlfriend. And then when they dump him, he says all these ugly things about him. I mean, I've heard him: psychopath, narcissist, all these things he says horrible after they dump him.
Yeah, I've seen him do that exact same thing with Val from Toxic Free, who was a former friend of his for 18 months, online friend, and another of his viewers and clients who was literally out there kind of fighting his battles essentially for him. But when she realised what was going on with him, he ran the most vicious smear campaign against her, very public smear campaign, I might add. So look, these are all kind of huge red flags. So I actually want to talk about this text message more, and just kind of ask you, were there other red flags? Like, so prior to receiving this text, and also let's just let the viewers know the context of how David was with you in the first place at 50 something years of age. Why was he moving back in with mummy in the first place?
Well, we after we reconnected on Ancestry, we did our DNA. Um, we talked, we Skyped, we texted, we emailed, everything for 2 years. And, I thought I knew him pretty good. I mean, because we talked about a lot. But he was real inappropriate in some of the things he would say. Like, he talked about his sex life often, really often. He would talk about, threesomes that he had. He had a girlfriend that lived with him, and his best friend was coming over, and they were having threesomes all the time. And he laughed, and he thought it was, really cool and everything. And he also talked about his adoptive mother and how she was he felt like she was making herself obvious for when she was undressing or anything like that for him to see. And he finally told me that one time he said, well, she was just always doing that, so I decided just to start stalking her. And, I talked to his adoptive parents many times. They told me that they were aware of his accusations, that never happened. She was a nurse. She was in the army, in the military. His dad was retired military too. And that never happened. Never happened.
It happened in David's mind. So on that note, actually, this kind of ties in really well with my next point that I wanted to raise, because I remember in the previous video that we did, we discussed your daughter, Carly, so David's half-sister. So I looked it up. It's genetic sexual attraction. And he had discussed that with Carly. But just before I go on, so I looked up the term and what it actually means. So genetic sexual attraction is feeling sexual, emotional, romantic feelings and love between close relatives, such as siblings, first and second cousins, or a parent and offspring who meet for the first time as adults. So I find it really interesting that he raised that topic to Carly, and then she mentioned it to you. So just tell the viewers exactly what happened,
Yeah.
because it does kind of tie in, it seems, with these other stories and now this text message and just weird behavior. So yeah, tell
Well,
us about Carly and the genetic sexual attraction.
okay. He was calling it genetic sibling attraction. That's what he was calling it. What it was, he was asking her on several occasions if she'd ever heard of that. And, she never heard of it. I never heard of it. And, I'm a nurse, but I still had never heard of that. And so anyway, I really just kind of thought, well, he's just talking to her. But he became obsessed with her. And she's his half sister. I mean, she's not even near interested. She didn't even know him. And he's coming on and saying these things and getting upset because she didn't want to come over and hang out all the time when she has a house, a family, a job and everything. But he just kept on with it. And she would ask me about it, but he never said that to me. And then finally, after this horrific text message I got, I started looking that up and I saw where it did say genetic sexual attraction, and then it also referred to a parent, an uncle, an aunt. It's not just a sibling, but that's how he was saying it to her, genetic sibling attraction.
Sorry, just to laugh, but David often gets on Psychology Today, an online magazine, and
Right,
then he'll read out phrases and terms that he's just learnt, and he reads them out on his channel as though he's the expert on it. So it doesn't surprise me that he got the term
right.
wrong. That's funny,
Yeah.
yeah, genetic sexual attraction, that absolutely ties in with everything that we're saying. All right, Sean. So back to this text. So the next morning, so what happened? Like, how did you react? How did he react? And did
Oh
you want
my
to kick him out?
God.
I mean, what happened?
Well, okay. I never told my daughter or my mom or anybody about it because they would be freaking out. And so I never brought it up. The reason I never brought it up to him is because I didn't know what he would do. He's a violent person. He has a horrible temper. I saw it here many times. Just when he was working on stuff, he'd get mad and throw stuff. So I really didn't want to say anything or confront him with it because I was afraid. I didn't know what he would do. And I just want to touch on one other thing. One night when he was in the kitchen again. I was whatever we were talking about. And, he all of a sudden was gone, and I was doing my thing. And I walked by his bedroom, and he has got his bedroom door wide open. He's laying out butt naked on his bed, on his back, naked. Now, how did he go from being in the kitchen with clothes on to next thing you know, he's laying on the bed, butt naked, passed out? I was shocked. I just walked off, and that happened like about a month before this.
He was lying naked in his room with the door open. See, that kind of ties in my mind, to it's obviously, like I said, it's about voyeurism and exhibitionism. So he's actually kind of, by the sounds of it, waiting for you to see him. So he's getting off on the idea that you might be peeping in on him, and that is getting him sexually aroused in some way, because it just ties in with the whole story about the stepmother, yeah, with him being a voyeur and watching her get undressed. And it seems like by doing that, with you, it seems like he's kind of just switched the roles out. So he's fantasizing about you, catching him naked or seeing him naked. So it's really, really interesting that all of these stories, like I said, all these little bits of information, they all tie in
All
really
together.
well with each other. Yeah, they do. So any other red flags, Sean?
One thing that he would say, talk about several times actually, was the fact that we could be in a relationship because we are not bonded, because I didn't raise him, which ties back into the genetic sexual attraction that he
Yeah.
was obsessed with. And, that was like a weird thing because I kept thinking, what is he talking about? It's like, why is he saying that to me? He doesn't really know me. It's so inappropriate. And it just ties into, he has no,
Boundaries. And he obviously, I mean, it's huge to overlook the fact that you are his biological mother. You gave
yeah.
birth to him. What is he thinking?
I don't know because our age differences are just 14 years. Because I was young, and he'd bring that up too. That well, we're not really that far apart. People have relationships, and at one point I'm thinking, what is he talking about? But that, just like I said, it ties into all these other aspects.
I was going to say, I can imagine at the time that all these little bits of information, all these little incidences, each and every one of them on their own, probably, you would have been shocked. You wouldn't have known how to deal with it. But it's now in hindsight that you actually can piece it all together.
Yes.
And the picture that it creates is just, it's
Yeah. I mean,
unbelievable.
unbelievable, because it's a part of grooming, and that's exactly what it is, grooming. And that's what he does with his clients. He grooms them, then he has relationships with them. He's grooming me to see if I'm going to say anything about him being naked on the bed in a not a big house.
And also because, well, we suspect he's a narcissist, because narcissists have got this really, like, they have this fascination with taboo sex, right? So
Yeah.
sex is not interesting to them unless it is taboo. So, for example, if you were married to a narcissist and they wanted to have an affair and you gave them permission to have an affair, that wouldn't be as much fun as if they were sneaking around behind your back. That makes
Yeah.
it all taboo, and so they enjoy it more. So this kind of thing, he's kind of playing these weird sexual games with his own mother and half sister. This feeds right into
It's
that weird
yes.
narcissistic sexuality.
Because he would come up with sexual related stories that he would tell me too. And that was kind of odd because they were some pretty grim stories. Like, he wanted to see my reaction when he's telling me that. There were sexual things like if somebody was gay, between gays, between men, and some stories like that, and it was or threesomes, or just it was just like he would talk about it a lot, and that was really something I just thought of recently,
Yeah,
because it's
interesting.
really bizarre. And it's a hindsight thing. Like you
Yeah.
said, you remember things.
It kind of shows maybe a bit of the inner workings of his mind. Like he's testing you essentially, like say, to see what
Mhm.
your reaction is going to be to those
Right.
kind of things. Also seeing if he can shock you as well. Once again, this is all kind of like getting fuel. For a narcissist, this is a way of getting fuel. But anyhow, I just wanted to touch back on that whole thing of him lying there naked, because I think that really, like I said, really the exhibitionism is on display for the world to see with that one. You can't really
I,
deny that.
yes, and one thing that I do want to say about that too is, we were in the kitchen. I was cleaning the kitchen, and he had his clothes on, and I don't understand how it got from that to him naked on the bed. And
Yeah.
and the house is not that big. It's like you got a hallway, so you could be in the living room, and the kitchen is see into the bedroom.
All wide open.
Wide
Invitation. Literally an
open.
invitation to either peep on him, or join him. I mean, given the text message that he
Right.
sent you about this kind of
Uh,
booty call thing, it wouldn't surprise me if he wanted you to join him at all, you know?
well, no, because he said, made the comment, it's only something you want. No, no, it's just really grotesque. I
Yeah, the
mean,
whole thing's so bizarre.
it is. It is
Yeah.
so. It's just sick. It's sick to the max. I mean, and and like I was saying before, after he left, and I had guilt about exposing my family to him, but I didn't know he was going to behave like that.
Yeah, that's
You
right. There was
know?
no way of you knowing, and you were just trying to meet your son, do the right thing by
Right.
him, he said all. It both sounds like he said and did all the right things up till the time that he moved in, and then he couldn't hide because you got to see behind the mask. So
Right.
there was no way of
Right.
knowing. Yeah.
So what I did was I told him that my granddaughter would not be coming over to the house anymore. And so I told him that. I didn't tell him the real reason, that she was not going to be coming over. And he immediately after that, he got mad and packed his shit up, and he was gone within a day. And I was like so glad. I just was like, oh my God, I didn't want anything with him. But yeah, so that's how I handled it. He left Las Vegas to go to Florida. He was moving there. And he was going out with this girl online. Well, the day that he was leaving to go to Florida, she dumped him, telling me, oh, I can't find a place to live. I can't afford it. Everything, it's just horrible, horrible. So he manipulated his way into my home too. He manipulated. I felt sorry for him. And I'm just like that. And he just manipulated his way here. And his adoptive dad, told me he did the same thing to his adoptive mother. Manipulated his way back into her house, used her for money, got money from her, and just totally used her too.
Yeah, I think he's a serial kind of we joke about it, but hobosexual. He will have sex for a place to stay. I think have relationships with women for a place to stay, and when he can't do that, like what you're just saying, falls back on women who feel obligated to help him. Essentially, the family.
Right,
So,
right.
so over the years, I've heard lots of different stories from first-hand accounts of people who have had relationships on some level with David, like I said, whether it be clients, coaching clients, friends, exes, family members, etc. The only person who's ever backed David Mars is Kim Wilson. So Kim has a channel, Kim Wilson TV, and she did this kind of huge, very public flip-flop on David. So she did it to protect her own reputation because there was allegations made against an event that Kim had hosted called the Mexico Meetup. So originally, when these allegations were made against David, Kim had called him a dangerous predator and a narc freak and talked about, how quickly he'd moved and how dangerous he was and all this kind of stuff and how he'd fooled even her, blah, blah, blah. But then she kind of changed her tune in an attempt to cover up all those allegations and save her own reputation because that was what she was really worried about. On that note, I'm going to link some videos in the pinned comment section. I'll link some videos from Evening Ransom, who's another narcissism channel, and Toxic 3, another narcissism channel. Both of them have done excellent work exposing David, Val, as you know. But so Kim's the only person, and Kim's had allegations made against her about her kind of own fraudulent behaviour with her coaching clients as well. Neither of them are qualified. Both of them are kind of grifters and con artists. So she's the only person. What tends to happen with David is people fall under his spell. I've noticed, like what you're saying, he's very, look, I think he's a narcissist. You think he's a narcissist. We're not psychologists.
Definitely.
Yeah, but we know him well enough to know that he's throwing up a huge amount of red flags when it comes to the narcissism. And so, yeah, he kind of manipulates women, takes advantage of them, and then when they try and escape him, he'll smear their reputation, which he has done with you on that note. So this is the third video we've done together now. All right, so we've done a couple or a few videos together, essentially talking about this kind of stuff with David Demars. But this last little bit of information, you didn't actually mention it last time, and I understand why, because it's embarrassing. But I'm glad that you raised it. Because it's a really useful bit of evidence and shows once again just how unstable he is. And the thing is, life coaching is an unregulated industry, and David Demars is unstable. He's a fraud. He should never be around any vulnerable women who are overcoming narcissistic abuse. And he needs to be removed from YouTube, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd like to add something on that too, because David, and I did say it in my other video, he only cares about the money. He doesn't care. He talks horrible about his clients. He talked to me about their, everything they told him. He showed me pictures of them. There's no confidentiality with him.
So Kim Wilson, she talks to him occasionally. Like I said, they had each other's backs when things turned bad in Mexico. Yeah. But in actual fact, she doesn't know him. It's nothing to do with her knowing him. She's just a bully and an art freak herself. And like I said, birds of a feather, Sean, birds of a feather flock together.
That's right. That's right. That's all. I just want people to be open-minded about the video, and, if they have a gut feeling, because you can watch his videos and tell that he's got some sexual issues. He's got a temper. He's totally unstable. He never has a house. He never has a car. He never has anything. He's just kind of out there drifting, grifting, And people need to realize, that, I mean, keep an open mind.
Yeah.
I have no reason to say any of this stuff. And I'm showing you the text that came from him. That came from his phone.
And that is his phone
Right.
number that he
Yeah.
uses for his clients. And, it's quite apparent. There is so much evidence, and, just being really logical. If people want to look at this situation and say, oh, it's his bio mum versus David Demars, well, it's not actually, because it's your story aligns with what Val says, with what his ex-clients say, his ex-girlfriends say, his former friends say. So your story actually aligns. David Demars is out there on his own, calling everyone a narcissist. It's not possible that you are all narcissists, all of his
Right.
ex-clients, ex-girlfriends, bio mum, his sister. It's not possible you're all narcissists. But what is possible is that David Demars is a narcissist. And having a channel on narcissistic abuse is perfect for a narcissist, because then they get to source all of these victims. So it's the perfect kind of hunting ground for a narcissist. We do need to do our very best to get him taken off YouTube, because he's
Yeah,
just.
he's dangerous. He is so dangerous.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think we just need to kind of just remind people once again that, like I said, it's not just Sean, bio mum versus David Mars. There are, like I said, former girlfriends, friends, clients, viewers out there who have all made allegations against him. Like I said, that some of these
His
allegations
adopted parents,
yeah,
too.
even
His
his adopted
adopted
parents.
parents, yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, safe to say that you're not all narcissists. And David actually is highly inappropriate and dangerous. It's
Very.
inappropriate. Yeah, inappropriate what kind of he did with you. But as I said, you're a professional woman. You own your own home. You've got a family. You've got stability. Can you imagine the impact that a man like David Mars is having on vulnerable women who don't have anything, who are
I
escaping narcissism?
know. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
Yeah. So I'm glad
Yes.
that you came forward, Sean. So thank you. I know it takes a lot of courage and bravery. And you know that some people from David Mars, like his coaching channel, some of these flying monkeys, they'll come down and they're going to harass you in the comments. But all we can say to them is, actually keep an open mind. Just open your mind.
Yes.
It's not
And
that
look
hard to sit around.
right, right, right. Yeah.
We've got all the evidence. All the evidence is there. Like I said, I'm going to link it all in the comment. I'm going to link all of the evidence once again for those people who just, just won't listen. Those people, they just won't listen. They're a little bit, they get a little bit obsessed and defensive, it seems, with David Demars, because he's
Yeah.
so clever. He uses this kind of cult-like language. He's always talking about we. Oh, we don't do that, do we? And on his channel. So if
Right.
you listen to the wording that he uses, highly manipulative cult-like behavior, and
Oh,
people
very.
vulnerable people especially will succumb to it. Not just vulnerable people, lots of people. So hopefully this will be yet another nail in the coffin of David Demars' fraudulent grifting career on YouTube. So once again, thanks, Sean. And
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I thank you for, having me, and just I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
you're more than welcome, lovely. Nice to talk to you, and I'll talk to you again sometime soon.